Hello, I'm Janet Morris. I'm the Year 2 School Experience Lead, and I've prepared this short vidcast to support class teachers and mentors in just giving an overview of the school experience, and hope that you find this helpful. It kind of gives you, we're aiming to give you information on how to contact us, how to keep in touch, how to keep that communication going, and also an overview of the Year 2 school experience. And as we go through, to signpost you towards some essential information that you need and give you further information as to where to find other information that you'll need as the placement goes on. I want to start with a big thank you to say thank you so much for hosting this, having the students come for their school experience to your school and if it's in your class. They really value this opportunity to develop their professional practice in school, and obviously it wouldn't be possible without this experience, so thank you very much for that. Some contacts for you. Your link tutor is your initial and prime contact. I know that they've all been in touch with the mentors, and that communication has been established. I'm, as I said, the Year 2 lead, and the easiest way to get hold of me, should you need to, is through that email address at the university. Michael Green overviews the whole partnership, and Becky Dixon leads the team who manage the placements. So we've reviewed all the documentation this year, and we really tried to slim it down and make it more user friendly, so that you get the information that you need when you need it. So this school experience guide has been slimmed down and now only contains the information that's just for Year 2 school experience. At the same time, there's another couple of documents that your student will have brought. The first one, the green one, the primary partnership handbook, contains all the generic information that is pertinent to any of the school experiences that we have going on. But as I say, the yellow one, the Year 2 school experience guide, is specific just to this practice. So this is handy as a reference guide to look up things like attendance and policies and information like that. The Teachers Standards booklet is invaluable in helping you to assess the students, and also for the students to assess themselves against the teacher's standards. So you'll be using phase 2 within this booklet, and basically the change this year is that the standards have been broken down into smaller compartments, so it makes it a bit easier to use, I think. So be interested to hear how you find using those. The other thing that will have come in your brown envelope is a very orangey yellow quick overview of key tasks for the mentor, and we've kept that out of the guide this year, and to hopefully so that you can just keep it in your file, and it just gives you that overview, quick things that you can see just at your fingertips, information that you need each week when you need it. So hopefully you'll find that useful as well. Okay, so if you have a look in the school experience guide, it basically takes you through the practice. The Year 2 school experience builds on what the students have been doing in the previous year in their first school experience, and during that practice they were working with groups. So you will have begun in that way, and by now they are building up their experience of doing more whole class teaching. So the main progression through Year 2 school experience is they move from working with groups to much more whole class teaching. They also build up the range of subjects that they cover. In Year 1 they've done mostly mathematics and a lot of phonics and literacy, and now they branch out across the curriculum and they're looking at RE, PE as well, and as many foundation subjects as possible, but that's obviously going to depend on what you're doing in your school and your class at the moment. So they're making a progression both in terms of being more whole class teaching, but also the range of subjects that they're teaching, and there's a progression there on page 14. But there is some flexibility within that. Some students perhaps haven't had a lot of experience in the age range that they're in now, and they may just need a little bit more time in moving from their groups to their whole class. So that will be done in negotiation with you, so in your discussions with them. There's a requirement that they should plan, teach, assess and evaluate all their lessons. So for everything that they're asked to teach, they do need to have a lesson plan. Every lesson plan needs to be evaluated, and for every group that they work with, they need to be gathering some assessment information. They need to be thinking about how the children have learned in that lesson or that group, whatever it is that they've been teaching. They should also now be really getting on with gathering that information and using either the tracking sheet that we've provided at university or something that works in your class, in your school, to be able to develop their understanding of how children's learning is developing over time, and they're keeping tracking records to show that. We're asking that the students meet with their mentor or their class teacher every week. We know from experience that this opportunity to talk through with either their class teacher or their mentor basically how they've got on during that week in terms of working towards the standards and the impact that they've been having on children's learning, their chance to discuss that with you is really, really important. If you look at I've actually put it in the week 2 newsletter that I've sent out, or bulletin that I've sent out, basically explains how gives you ideas for the focus for that meeting. But it's really important that the students actually come to the meeting prepared, and we've really explained that to them. They are going to get much more out of a meeting with you if they've done their preparation. So we're asking them to have done their evaluation in advance, and in doing their evaluation they need to think about how their teaching has impact on the children. So they need to have reviewed their assessment records, and they need to really have reflected upon the progress that the children have made, ready to come to have that discussion with you, so that they can think about how their teaching has developed with all of that in mind. So when they come to the meeting, their files should be up to date, they should have their assessment information ready, and at the same time as doing this is a really great opportunity for them to begin to identify particular records or assessments or plans, things that have gone well for them that they can then begin to keep their evidence. So it all fits in together. So the weekly meeting is very important. The next thing that we've had a look at this year is thinking about the school-based training. So there are some tasks that we've said are compulsory, and they really relate to the partnership priorities for this year that are around Teaching Standard 5 and Teaching Standard 6. So within the School Experience Guide, there's guidance there on things that the students must do in terms of their school-based training. But at the back of their School Experience Guide, there's also a menu of school-based training, which is quite good to think of it. They can't do all of it, it's too much, and also not all of it is going to be exactly what they need. And what we want to be doing is moving towards that training to be planned for them more on the basis of what they need. So from their weekly evaluations and their targets, thinking about what they need, looking ahead to the week ahead, rather than viewing that as a checklist and as things that have to be done. There's just a menu there of opportunities that will give ideas of ways to support that development. But if you think of other ways, if you've got other things going on in school that you feel would meet that better, then that's great, and that would meet their needs, and that would be smashing. As well as their time for school-based training, they also have a day a week for planning and preparation. So that while they're doing that time, they do need to remain in school. They all do know that. In terms of expectations around observations, they need to have a minimum of 4 observations during this practice. One will be in literacy, one will be in mathematics, one will be in PE, and another one will be in anything else that you'd like, so that they'd have 4 across the practice. And one of those observations will be a joint observation with your link tutor. So it's 4 in all. One will be a joint observation with the link tutor, and I think most link tutors have been in touch with schools now to propose a date for that. So this is a bit more detail on what the weekly meetings will entail of. We want the students to have done their evaluation. We want them to review the progress and learning of all the pupils in their class, review their own, have a look at go through the teaching file, look at how the students getting on in terms of the standards, and using those grade descriptors fortnightly. The other thing that we've asked the students to do is every week when they've had their meeting with you and they will have done their weekly evaluation. When your comments have been added, we then ask them to upload their evaluation to PebblePad, and the link tutor can have a look, and then the link tutor will respond to the students. So we're asking the students to upload their evaluation, write a little message in the comment box which says, I've uploaded my evaluation, and also let us know if they've uploaded any evidence as well. So let us know if they've made any amendments to their PebblePad, so that we can go and have a look at that from time to time as well. Okay, in the school experience guide, it also gives you an overview on page 7 of of how assessment is carried out for this particular school experience. We've mentioned the grade descriptors for phase 2. That's what you'll be using on a fortnightly basis. The thing that's coming up soon is we need an interim report midway through week 4. So at that point, it's an opportunity to meet with the student, have a mid-placement review meeting, and look at their progress against all of the standards, and give them an interim grade for each of the standards. And we ask you to do an interim grade and also a predicted grade. So where you think they are at the moment, and where, if you can predict where you think given if they continue with the progress they're making, that they'll get through to the final, what they'll be at the final point. At that point, the students need either a TIP, which is a targeted intervention plan, or a RAP, which is a rapid accelerated progress plan. So most students who are on track, they will have a TIP, a targeted intervention plan, and students, we're a bit worried about their progress. So if they are graded as less than good, so if they're on either grade 3 requiring improvement to be consistently good, or a 4 as at the moment inadequate, and then we need to put in a rapid action plan quickly. So what that is basically trying to look at the key things where the students are having difficulty at the moment, and try to really break down the standard, break down it into smaller steps, so small steps that they can achieve, but they need to achieve them rapidly. They need to be quite precise, but targets that they can achieve as quite rapidly, and then if they've achieved those, then carry on with another one until they catch up to the standard that they should be at. There's lots of guidance about that. There's guidance in the partnership handbook, and you can also be signposted to that from the school experience guide as well. And also in every week when we send out our bulletins, we give more information. So next week, in preparation for you doing the interim report, we'll send out some further information about targeting, about tips and RAPs and writing targets. This year is something else that's a little bit different. We're asking that in week 7 of the practice that you actually share a draft of your final report with the link tutor, just so that we can have a look at it before it's finalised, and we can liaise if we need to, if something we think is perhaps what wasn't what we expected, or so we could perhaps have a discussion about that. And then in the final week, you'll send your final grades to the university, or basically you'll give the report to the student, and the student will send their grades into the university as well, and they'll also upload their final report onto Pebblepad, so we'll know what's happened there at the end. We've been working really hard this year on trying to think of ways to keep really good communication, and this vidcast that we're doing at the moment is one of those ways that we're doing it. There are another couple that you might find useful. Well, I'm sure you would find useful if you did have a look at them. One relates to those targets that we were just talking about. There's there's a link just here, and high quality targets to support student teacher progress. So gives you an overview of, it's what's nice about it is it's all information that's come from previous meetings with link tutors and mentors, where we've got together and we've thought about, in everyone's practice, what is the best way to write those targets, and how do we make those targets really high quality. So that's helpful advice. Similarly, we've got one on effective written feedback. Again, it's been produced by the link tutors and mentors working together to identify aspects of their practice that they found really effective. So they're really useful if you want to have a look at those as well. Each week I'll be sending out a weekly bulletin and just sort of pointing out what's coming up next week, and a few reminders of the things that's coming up. It just means that we the students and the mentors, the class teachers and the link tutors, we're all aware of what's coming up and keeping on top of everything. As I said, your link tutor is really important port of call, first of all, for any information or support. And the last thing, just to remind you and invite you to, it'd be really nice if as many mentors could come along to our link tutor and mentor development meeting at Avery Hill on November the 18th, which is just about halfway through the practice. So it's a really good opportunity for us to be developing our partnership, and it's really nice for professional development and us keeping in touch with each other. So be very welcome to that. It'd be lovely if you could come along. So just to end with another final thank you so much for everything that you do for our students. I hope to see you on the 18th, and if you have any thoughts or comments, you now know how you can email. Thanks very much.